Good morning. Welcome to Composition 10. Today is Thursday, April 30th. It's great to be here with you today. Today, our objective is to draft a rhetorical analysis of Trump's Oval Office address. Your goal is to draft a 3-paragraph rhetorical analysis essay and turn that in as you create your own drafting document in Google Classroom and submit that by tomorrow morning. Some helpful resources, the same resources as last class with the addition of 6.5 outline. A couple of you asked questions on how to actually see your exit slip feedback. You should be checking your emails. So I just last night went through everybody's outline exit slip and left feedback. So do check your email this morning to see what I left for you there. Our agenda today, you'll watch this video. You'll be set up with a criteria for success for what a good rhetorical analysis will look like. Your independent practice will then be to draft 3 paragraphs, which we'll highlight in this video, and then a very brief exit slip. Quick review. The other week, we talked about the difference of writing a rhetorical analysis essay versus the other types of essays that we've written this year. In the other essays, the mainly argumentative essays we've written, you've very much been like a boxer in the ring, using your own technical moves to try to persuade an audience. However, as you're writing today's rhetorical analysis essay, you are playing the role of a sports commentator. You are observing the person in the ring, trying to explain the specific moves they're using in their attempt to win. Here's a couple examples.
The Indiana Pacers are looking for a measure of revenge tonight against the New Jersey Nets and to strengthen their playoff hopes. The Nets won the last Sunday's matchup 94-85, which left the Pacers 1 game behind the Chicago in the 7th series spot. Let's check out the highlights. Steven Jackson's David. Reggie Miller's looking good. He shoots a 3, and it's good. Later, he gets the rebound, passes it to the man, shoots it, and boom goes the dynamite. The final score is enough.
So this is going to be an example of maybe a not very good commentator. He didn't have a very masterful grasp on what he was talking about, and he stumbled through a lot of his commentation. Excellent commentating would look like this.
Okay, again, Scotty's making the reads. He knows this action. Right, he knows it. Here it is. He knows the ball comes back there. He knows they're looking for Starks coming off of a double screen on the weak side. So he tries to get his hand in that passing lane. He misses it. But this shows me that he is keenly aware of the actions that are taking place out here on the floor, which means he prepares. So if I'm this draft pick coming into the league, I know I got to do my homework. Homework could give you all the answers, right? Scotty knows what's coming there. Right now, this is unbelievable. Look at all the ground this guy covers. Here, down, there. Right? But it's the activity. He plays defense with an energy. Too many players today play defense just to play defense. He's attacking these offensive players. He's going after it. He's playing with an energy out there. If I can learn how to cut angles off like Scotty.
So here, Kobe Bryant does a fantastic job commentating what's happening in these plays. He's identifying specific moves and strategies being used, and that's what makes this commentator a fantastic analyzer. And so as you are going to analyze Trump's speech today, you really want to focus, what is Trump doing to try to persuade his audience? So your task is to draft a brief 3-paragraph rhetorical analysis essay of Trump's Oval Office address. Your goal is to submit your 3-paragraph draft in Google Classroom. The first paragraph, you're analyzing the rhetorical situation. The second paragraph, you're analyzing specific rhetorical devices that Trump is using throughout the speech. In your third paragraph, you're going to leave your evaluation. For a little bit of insight here, I'm going to go into some specific details on what will make each of these paragraphs successful for you today. In paragraph 1, you're looking at the rhetorical situation. You're going to have a frame and a thesis statement here. Your frame is going to be a SOAP's overview. You just want to introduce what is the subject of the speech, what's the occasion that prompted it, who is the audience listening to the speech, what is the purpose, and what do we know about the speaker. By doing the SOAP's overview, you're framing your thesis. And one common mistake I saw in your outline, in your thesis, you want to focus on the author's purpose. So what is Trump's overall purpose here? And you want to focus on the big picture rhetorical strategy. And so in your thesis, you don't necessarily need to name specific rhetorical devices like metaphor or simile or juxtaposition. You can save those rhetorical devices for your assertion. In your thesis, you want to talk about the big strategy. And that's, is Trump appealing to logic? Is Trump appealing to emotions? Or is he appealing to credibility in order to persuade his audience to do whatever his purpose is? In paragraph 2, this is where you're actually analyzing specific rhetorical devices. And with your assertion, you want to identify 2 specific rhetorical devices that Trump uses, and you want to make that clarified in scope by answering a question like when, how, where, or why does he use these rhetorical devices. Your evidence. Make sure you cite specific evidence. You don't need to cite an entire paragraph, but whatever the rhetorical device actually is, you do want to make sure you actually give us that quote and then cite it with paragraph and then the paragraph number. Be sure that you properly contextualize this evidence. So don't just drop a quote in. You need to tell us when in the speech was this rhetorical device used. So far, everything we've talked about here, you did during last class. Where I know you might have some questions is the actual analysis. So there's 2 parts to the analysis, the zoom in and the zoom out. When we're zooming in, your goal is to actually unpack the device or strategy. So you should answer the question, how does the strategy usually work? Your goal is to show that you actually know what this strategy is. This is a good place to give a simple definition. Then, how does the strategy work in this specific example? And so you're digging into the text. How is Trump using this device? When you zoom out, you want to connect the device to an appeal and to the audience. Ask and answer. Why did Trump use this strategy on this audience? And don't just say he's trying to get his point across. Be specific. Then, how did the strategy actually make the audience feel, respond, or act? Get inside the audience's head. Imagine you're a viewer watching this speech. How would you have responded to that rhetorical device? In the next slides, I'm going to show some examples. So you've asked in the past for more examples of what analysis looks like, and so I've provided some of my own. A good way to go through these next slides is to pause, try to answer the questions yourself, and then reveal the answer. So the first rhetorical device here comes from that Reading Inspires Children commercial. Go ahead and read the quote. Pause the screen and see if you can identify correctly which rhetorical device this is. So this is an example of diction. Now, read my analysis. How did I analyze this rhetorical device? What we'll see here is diction is the choice of words used to affect the tone of a piece. And so as I start by zooming in, I define what is the rhetorical device. Next, I'm going to get specific. Here, we see an example of literary diction. Notice I define what type of diction we're looking at. So we're looking at literary diction. By using a phrase like, how I long for the toll of the recess bell, Instead of the more ordinary, I can't wait for the recess bell, the commercial is able to tap into the audience's sentimental feelings in order to make an emotional appeal. Now I've highlighted which aspect of my analysis is a zoom in versus what is a zoom out. You can pause the screen and see that yellow is zoom in, and green is zoom out. All right, go ahead and identify what rhetorical device we saw here. Yes, this was hyperbole. Go ahead and read my analysis and try to identify where did I zoom in and where did I zoom out. Again, the yellow is where I zoomed in, and the green is my example of a zoom out. Last example comes from AOC's Courage to Change commercial, where she said this race is about people versus money. We've got people, they've got money. See if you can identify what rhetorical device she is using here. Yes, she is using juxtaposition. Now read my analysis and figure out where I zoom in and where I zoom out. Again, in the yellow, I zoom in. In the green, I zoom out. Hopefully those examples were helpful for you to see what your rhetorical analysis should look like today. If you have questions, please do email me. Your third paragraph, this is your evaluation. This is your opportunity to pack your own punch, to say what you think about what Trump's doing. And so you do this by doing three things. First, restate your thesis. Remind the reader of what Trump's purpose was with the speech and what overall rhetorical strategy he was using. Then you can evaluate his use of rhetorical strategies. And when you're evaluating, you're saying, what do you think about this? So what do you think about Trump's use of specific rhetorical devices? And this is where you really get to let your opinion shine. Lastly, leave your reader with a lasting, impactful idea. This is where you can bring your draft to a natural close. So if you follow these steps today, you should be going at a great pace and be set up well to write your 3-paragraph rhetorical analysis. If you have questions, please jump into office hours today. You don't need to stay for the whole hour, but you can pop in for 5 minutes, ask me a question. I'd be happy to look over what you have and give you some feedback. Best of luck.